The 2024 African Nations Championship is making history for the first time. It's being co-hosted by three nations, Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. With local talent on full display and passionate home crowds backing them, each host kicked off their campaigns with high hopes. Now let's head first to Dar es Salaam, where Tanzania began their CHAN journey against Burkina Faso. Tanzania 2, Burkina Faso 0. Tanzania lined up in a 4-3-3, marshalling a structural midfield triangle, and this combined solidity with their attacking balance. Their back four was flat and disciplined, as the fullbacks were providing width when in possession. The midfield trio, Mudathir was the pivot who anchored and recycled possession. Then there's Kagome and Nado who are operating as the duo shuttlers to add energy and recover the balls. Tanzania scored 2 goals. Suleiman earned and converted a penalty after bursting into the box, and this was after a very clever diagonal run. Husseini's goal, which was the second goal for Tanzania, he scored it from Yaya's left wing cross, and this sealed the win. There are key notable aspects from this game. One is the shape in possession. While Nado and Kagoma are pressing into the half spaces, Yaha sat centrally, and this helped shield the back four and recycle their possession. Then we have the midfield control. Kagoma, Yaya, and Nado. This trio dominated the second balls. They broke Burkina Faso's build-up and controlled the midfield tempo. Then we have the width and press triggers. The Tanzania wide forward play and drew fouls. And Burkina Faso's midfield press was triggered around wide build-up play zones. The main aspect from the Tanzanian team was the set-piece execution. The penalty for Tanzania arose as they were targeting the pressing and diagonal runs. For this Tanzanian team, what worked well is the structure in pressing, their clinical finishing, and the cohesive midfield triangle. Being the opening game, this was very impressive from the Tanzanian team, but I think the areas they can work on is the substitution strategy. Fresh legs that were introduced later didn't maintain the tempo, and now the coaches may need to deploy super subs earlier to sustain attack, and also building up under pressure. The backline occasionally resorted to long clearances when pressured, and I think more composure and short passing through midfield is very necessary. Congratulations, Tanzania. On to the next game against Mauritania. All the best. Now on to Kenya versus DR Congo. Kenya faced DR Congo, who have won this competition twice, and I think this debut match for Kenya will go down in history. A key notable aspect is the home support. The stadium was sold out days before the tournament, which was very impressive. The team went into this game knowing that Kenyans were supporting them fully. They used a 4-4-2. We had Ogam, Othiambo, Onyango, and Okwaro as the midfielders. Othiambo and Onyango were anchoring defensive duties, and Ogam and Okwaro were supporting the central midfielders. I think the coach aimed at balancing the defensive coverage with the flexible counterattacks. Then we have the strike pair, Juma and Sakwa. They formed the front two. They were flexible in drops and running off the shoulder. The match-winning moment was Austin Othiambo drifting inside from the right. He then ghosted two DR Congo defenders before slotting a composed left-footed finish into the corner. And this was Kenya's first ever goal in CHAN just before halftime. What worked well, one is the midfield discipline. The 4-4-2 formation preserved the team structure as Othiambo provided key defensive cover, and this allowed Onyango to shape play from the deep. Then we have Onyango's control. He was composed and incisive. His passing range and tempo control disrupted DR Congo's rhythm, and he also earned a man of the match in this game. Then a fluid front two movement, Juma and Sakwa, they rotated to create space and stretch defenders, even when they had limited chances. Another key aspect is the compact shape. The wide midfielders protected the fullbacks well. This frustrated Congo's attempt to build through the flanks. Key areas to improve on: one is the slow start. Kenya's start was shaky in early possession, and there was some kind of momentum from the DR Congo team. They didn't concede, but control was weak. They can improve on that. Another thing is the midfield bypass. Congo managed to skip Kenya's midfield block on occasions with quick interchanges. I think Kenya can benefit from tighter rotations or pressing triggers. All the best, Kenya, in your next game versus Angola. Tanzania and Kenya won their first games. Unfortunately, Uganda could not follow suit. Uganda 0, Algeria 3. This was a very disappointing start. Let's talk about the goals. First goal was from Gezala, nodded home from a corner to break the home side's resistance. The second one was from Meziani, curled in a sublime strike. The third goal was from Bayazid, capped the route with a composed finish after a swift counter-attack, and it was a very beautiful goal. Let me talk about the tactical setup and structure. They used a 4-3-3. This meant they had one holding midfielder and three forwards, and it exposed several weaknesses. One is poor emotional control. After they conceded the first goal, they visibly dipped and the players appeared anxious, and this led to cheap turnovers. Another thing is the lack of defensive compactness. Their wide forwards, Kakande and Anyana, they prioritized attacking, and this left gaps as Algeria was easily transitioning. There were two brief positives. There was a tactical reshuffle at halftime where the coach replaced Sesumugabi with Watambala, and this helped stabilize the midfield briefly. Also, Uganda had a spell of possession, and they did create the half chances from Okello, Kakande, and Watambala, but they lacked accuracy in the final passes and the short execution. Now, Uganda must win games against Guinea and Niger, and they must tighten their midfield, sharpen transition, and reset mentally to keep their tournament hopes alive. I wish them all the best in their next game versus Guinea.